Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Welcome to Drug Center. I'm Jim, that's Frank. Today we're going to be talking about drug offenses in Canada. Frank, why don't you start us off?
Well, in drug offenses, there's two categories. The first category is possession. The second category is trafficking.
Okay, and who would even consider doing such a thing?
Well, in the two scenarios that will be shown, you'll see the two types of people that would commit possession and trafficking.
Wow, let's just go to the video.
What you saying, bro?
Yo, what up? You need that?
Yeah, I need that stuff.
Alright, yo, this is what I got. Just got this yesterday.
Ooh, what?
You smelled that? That's the best.
Oh, okay. Yo, how much more? Like, how much is it gonna cost?
Alright, yo, for this is $10.
Yo, I need this for a party, bro. We'll talk.
Alright, yo, I'll give you a deal on half full.
Oh, yo,
Hey.
What?
Back up. Get over there. Alright, let's go. Come on.
Wow, Frank, that was an amazing display of trafficking.
Yes, Jim. Alright, now let's go on to possession.
Alright.
Drug offenses. The Controlled Drugs and Substances Act is the federal statute that deals with narcotics and other controlled drugs such as heroin, cocaine, and marijuana. This act was passed on May 14, 1997. More common drug-related offenses discussed in this section will be possession and trafficking. And stop it.
Frank, why don't you tell us a little bit more about drug offenses before we start? Trafficking is a criminal offense that involves selling, administering, transporting, sending, or delivering a controlled substance or an authorization for a controlled substance.
To get a conviction for possession for the purpose of trafficking, the Crown must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused possessed the controlled substance with the intention of trafficking.
Now let's take a look at the penalties for trafficking or possession for the purpose of trafficking. Schedule 1 or 2 is an indictable offense with a maximum penalty for life imprisonment. Schedule 3 has an indictable offense with a maximum penalty of 10 years and a summary offense with a maximum penalty of 18 months. Schedule 4 has an indictable offense of 3 years and a summary offense of 1 year. Thanks for that, Frank. Now, let's talk a little bit more about possession. Under the Act, it is illegal to have possession of any unauthorized drugs mentioned in Schedules 1 to 4, unless the drug is used for medicinal purposes. The definition of possession is the state of having knowledge and control over something. In this case, a drug. Not only having the drug, but having knowledge of the drug and having knowledge that the drug is illegal. This is also mentioned in Section 4, Subscript 3 of the Criminal Code. Now let's take a look at the schedules and the maximum penalties for the possession under the Controlled Drug and Substance Act. Schedule 1 includes drugs like opium, cocaine, and methadone. It's an indictable offense that can last up to 7 years in prison. For a first offense, a fine of $1,000 or 6 months in prison can serve as a penalty, and for a subsequent offense, a fine of $2,000 and 1 year can be a penalty. Schedule 2 includes drugs like marijuana and hashish, which derive from cannabis. This is an indictable offense that can last up to 5 years in prison, and the same penalty for a first offense as a subsequent offense, like in Schedule 1. Schedule 3 includes drugs like meth and ecstasy, which derive from amphetamines, as well as drugs like LSD and DMT. This is an indictable offense that can last up to 3 years in prison, and the same rules apply for the first offense and second and subsequent offense as in Schedule 1 and 2. Determining whether someone is guilty of possession can be hard, but there are 3 things that can help. Firstly, a person must know what the item is and that the item is illegal. So if you give somebody a bag of cocaine and say that it's sugar, and they get pulled over later that day, they can't get arrested because they didn't know that the cocaine was cocaine. Secondly, someone can be found guilty of possession even if they do not have the item on them. So if you put a bag of cocaine in someone's gym bag and they get caught for the bag of cocaine, it can trace back to you and you can be arrested. Thirdly, someone can be charged on the basis of consent. So if your friend buys drugs from somebody and you're walking with your friend and you get pulled over, both of you can be found guilty of possession because you knew that your friend bought drugs. Now let's go to an instant replay of the first scenario that was shown to us. We know that this was trafficking because the gentleman in the black hoodie was selling or delivering marijuana to the gentleman in the black sweater. We now know that the gentleman in the black hoodie has possession of marijuana for the purpose of trafficking and could therefore be sentenced to life imprisonment since marijuana is a Schedule II drug and this is an indictable offense. Now let's move on to scenario number 2. In scenario number 2, we knew that the gentleman in the black hoodie had possession of marijuana. We now know that marijuana is a Schedule II drug, and under an indictable offense, he could get up to 5 years in prison, or a summary first offense, a $1,000 fine and/or 6 months in jail, and a subsequent offense, $2,000 in fines and or 1 year in jail. We know that this person could get these penalties since he had knowledge and control over the controlled substance.